Okay, so this is build 2 where I go into greater detail on behind the scenes stuff about these projects, specifically the fusion powered grill, maybe we can call it, perpetual grill, solar powered grill, but really it's just the electronics that are being supported because as I said in the video, the real energy is coming from, or the bulk of the energy is coming from hydrocarbons burning these little wood pellets. But for anybody that wants to set up their own like enhanced reliability of their pellet grill, I wanted to go into the details of what I did. So the part you probably would have the least amount of understanding around would be the solar charge controller right here. So what does a solar charge controller do? Well, the dirty little secret of solar panels, like, well, it's not a dirty little secret, but if you don't know about solar panels, if you just set a voltmeter on one and put it out in the sun throughout the day, you would see that the voltage starts at something lower than you can actually do anything with. You know, if it's rated as a 12 volt panel, it's going to have less than 12 volts before the sun hits it. And then it will probably go up to 20, 30, who knows, maybe even 40 volts, depending on the panel at the peak of the sun on it. And we don't want to be putting 40 volts into a 12 volt battery for very long. I mean, if the battery needs charging, there is some point there where you could apply a panel directly to the battery, and the battery, as long as the panel is small enough and your battery is big enough, the battery is going to pull enough current that it'll drop the voltage level down on the panel. But don't recommend that. That'd be like a disaster situation where you can sit there the whole time and monitor the voltage. So we don't have to do that. This solar charge control is basically an automated way to sit there and make sure that we're not feeding the battery anything higher than what we should. And so when I set up this, let's see, we'll get in real close here. When I set up this charge controller, there were settings in there for like, all right, when do I want to start the charge? When do I want to stop the charge? And you can see right now, I think you can see, there's a 13.8 on there, even though the little arrow is showing like, yeah, the solar panel is putting power into the battery. It's not. No current is flowing into the battery right now. It's just sitting there. It has reached that top 13.8 setting, and it's not going to put any more current into the battery. That's really important that you get that right. Batteries don't like being charged or discharged outside of that just Goldilocks zone that they are designed around, or you damage the thing and it's not going to work very well. Like the RV battery that I showed, even though it's massive and way, way, way bigger than the one that is running the grill, it didn't have any capacity left because it had been used and abused and run down to 0 volts before I even got the dang thing. So solar charge controller, make sure that this fluctuating voltage in the solar panel, whether it's a single one or a bunch of them, doesn't get too high. When it gets too high, it doesn't let all of that down into the battery. I'm thinking in the back of my mind that it's like a PWN kind of thing, that it's like just sitting there pulsing it so that it never sees the voltage too high. But there are different ways. I want to say there's a MTTF, MTTB, anyway, mean power, MPPT, mean power point transfer, I think. We'll see in post there if I'm correct. But that's what this thing is. So this one's a little weird. I'm not used to them having this plug right in the front, but this one does, and that's where it says the solar panel should go in. So with this kit, just had the wires coming down from the panels, and they all go into like, this was the joiner. Also, I've never seen anything like this before. All 4 solar panels, 1, 2, 3, 4, positive and negative, going into a single positive and negative. There's no brain in there. That's just what they're doing. And then those are coming up and going right in where the panels are. I'm not sure why they did that when there are, I mean, it has a little image of a solar panel right there. When I permanently wire this, that's probably what I'm going to do, is put the positive negative of the solar panel there. And then I just ran my wires. Say there's a little battery symbol there, and I ran positive and negative down. Now those wires came with, I'm not sure where I got those wires from. Actually, those may have come with some other unit that I had, and I just clipped it and said, you know what, I'm going to stick those on there really quickly to see how it works. And you can see I crimp connected directly from the battery to the inverter right there. Now, I want to mention, in the video we talked about how this grill does not pull more than 200 watts. There is a 300 watt inverter on that is like a third of this size, maybe smaller, on Amazon, wherever you can find online, that is more than adequate. But I didn't want to have to buy that when I had this one sitting on the shelf. So and while we're talking about the inverter, this kilowatt is really handy if you're doing anything with power. It is really nice to have one of these, and it's not showing anything right now because I have the inverter off. But obviously you don't need one, but it's kind of neat if you're going to hook up anything to batteries, whatever, that are being charged by solar, to be able to monitor what your usage is coming off of it. So nice handy thing there. While we're talking about the on switch, I actually leave the grill turned on. I leave that switch in the on position, and it's just off right now. And I let the inverter be. So this is my master on-off switch right there. So when I want to use my grill, I flick that switch. It powers up the kilowatt. I'd say I don't use the kilowatt anymore, but initially I did. So I'll probably pluck it off of there. And this little white thing is just a spacer that I used because the kilowatt wouldn't be able to reach the plugs just sitting right on the face of it because of this mounting flange that they put on there. So no biggie. But yeah, back to this. I will be cutting these wires or getting my own wires, and putting other crimp connectors on there, or using some sort of a what do we call those? A little strip of screws, bus bars, that I'll be able to like have screw terminals or something on there for probably run these to the bus bars and then have everything else be screw terminals on it, with some kind of protector so nothing metal could fall on there and short them out. Let's see, is there anything else to say about this? Naturally, zip ties aren't the best permanent mounting for something like this, but obviously it worked. It worked great for now. And then weather does come down and get water on, I'm sure this would get wet. It's probably not going to hurt anything having a little bit of rainwater land on it, but I probably don't want water getting down to the inverter, so putting these in some kind of a box or ammo can or something like that, some sort of a cover where they're propped up and animals or critters or rain or snow isn't going to get on that, it would be a good idea. So, but there you go. I think that's going to wrap up the build 2 portion of this video. That should tell you, obviously, don't necessarily copy exactly what I'm doing. If I were marketing this to anyone, it would be a really nice kit where everything's bolted together. So you take responsibility for all the electrical connections. You just don't want to be shorting out your battery. That's where that's where heat and fire and all that stuff. And then the sizing of your conductors. Make sure that they are big enough to handle the current. There's a Blue Sea Systems chart out there on the length of the wires and the current that you expect to pull through them. Obviously this is pretty low current in this situation, but you want to look up those things for whatever you're doing and make sure it's safe enough, because yeah, your responsibility, not mine. Just showing you what I did, not recommending the way that I did it. I've already told you ways that I need to upgrade this to make it more safe. So, but there you go. If you want some more background, I'm going to go into some of that, how that thermal works, and how I blended it with this, and maybe some additional background stuff on Patreon. So do please consider becoming a patron. It's very difficult to support one's YouTube habit these days without patrons to support things, because the monetization just isn't what it once was, and unless you're just putting out banger videos all the time, I say it's a very difficult thing to keep up. So if you would consider supporting me on Patreon, that will help help ensure that more content like this will continue to come out. So thanks for watching. See you in the next video.